Welcome to Fake Love and Flying Monkeys, the podcast where fake love is exposed. I'm Nova Gibson and I am your host. I'm the principal counsellor at Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling.com.au. This space is dedicated to helping you reclaim your worth and understand the impact of toxic relationships with suspected narcissists. You deserve clarity, healing, and freedom from the pain of fake love and flying monkeys. So please leave a review and grab a copy of my book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. Let's uncover the truth and take back your power. Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. One question that I regularly get asked by my lovely clients in their healing journey from narcissistic abuse. And by the way, guys, if you would like to have an online session with me, please just see my website in the description. But one question that I hear so often is, Nova, do I have to forgive the narcissist to be able to heal and to move on? And I cannot tell you about how relieved these people are, the looks on their faces and the sighs that I hear when I give them my opinion, which is an absolute resounding no. So, of course, forgiveness is not about your abuser. It's not about the narcissist. It's about you. And many people believe that withholding forgiveness keeps that anger and that hurt alive, and it keeps you controlled by the narcissist, the person who harmed you. Their belief is that forgiveness sets you free. Now, I would never seek to change your opinion if that is what you believe. I would never project my values onto you. But what I want to stress is that it's a personal decision. It's up to you. And you can move on and heal despite what other people tell you without forgiving your abuser. The person who has absolutely no remorse, had no accountability, and if you gave them just 2 more seconds of your time, they would do it all over again. They would hurt you, and they would hurt you twice as much. So let's look at a dictionary type definition of what forgiveness is. So psychologists will generally define forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance toward a person or group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness. Okay, so that is a definition that you'll find in Wikipedia, etc. Now, remember what this person did to you. They put you through hell. They tried to destroy you. They tried to isolate you from any type of support system and everything else they did to you. Remember what they did, and also remember that this person who you now believe is a narcissist, who has no empathy, has never shown any true remorse, and they have only ever changed for very, very short periods of time, if that happened at all. And then they just went straight back to their baseline behavior, which is to manipulate and abuse you. And reflecting back on the abuse that you have endured, which you're no doubt doing a lot of if you're listening to this podcast, then think back to some time when maybe someone said to you something like, just forgive them and move on. Now, this is one of the most repeated and frankly victim blaming pieces of advice that we can give survivors of narcissistic abuse, because it puts absolutely no weight on the shoulders of the abuser to do anything, to seek the forgiveness or to make up for what they did. And it puts all of this weight on the victim. And victims often feel so resentful, often more resentful of the person who's telling them to just forgive and move on, because they can't just forgive and move on. They often feel more resentful of someone telling them that than they do about the actual abuser. And that's why I believe it's so harmful to make a victim feel like that is the only option to move on, rather than saying that, hey, this works for me, but you do what works for you. I'm here for you regardless, and I'm here for you to talk to about what happened to you and your feelings. And these words, just move on, forgive them, they too often come from very well-intentioned people, but they can be so harmful to a victim who feels like they'd rather be shot out of a cannon with hot needles in their eyes than forgive this person who put them through hell and would do it again if they had the chance. And once again, I am not mocking in the slightest people who choose to forgive. That is a very personal choice. And if that enables you to move on and to heal and to release that constant ruminating about your abuse, if that works for you, then that's wonderful. I'm simply saying that we can't project that onto everyone who simply does not want to forgive their abuser. So it's often painted, forgiveness, as this moral virtue, like this sign that, yes, you've done all the work and you've reached this place where you are feeling like this person isn't controlling your mind anymore. But when you've been manipulated and emotionally tortured and discarded and gaslit, the idea of forgiving them, remember that definition that I explained to you in the beginning, the idea of forgiving them can feel not just absolutely impossible, but totally invalidating. Narcissists inflict massive pain on their victims. They do a lot of damage. So healing from narcissistic abuse is something that is going to take time. You're going to have to process your trauma and validate your trauma. And you can't just bypass that by forgiving your abuser. Forgiveness is a choice, and it is totally up to you. So don't you let anyone tell you that you can't heal unless you forgive your abuser. So here's the very uncomfortable, but I hope empowering truth. You do not owe forgiveness to someone who is not sorry, especially not to someone who would use the fact that you forgave them to victimize you again, to worm their way back into your life and hurt you all over again. Forgiveness can actually be a way of retraumatizing yourself, because that resentment that you feel if you really did not want to forgive them, but you were told that that was what you had to do, that resentment can build and build and build, and it can actually do more damage than moving on with support to be able to heal and get the narcissist out of your head without actually saying to yourself or to them, I forgive you. So, if forgiveness is about freeing yourself from that hold of your abuser, you can do that without forgiving them. You free yourself from their control when they have absolutely no way to impact your life anymore, negative or positively. You free yourself when you just don't think about them anymore and you get to that place of meh, and you can't hurt me anymore is the way you feel through your self-care. Or forgiving them, once again, that is up to you. So if you've been told by a very well-intentioned individual that you have to forgive because forgiveness sets you free, and that anger that you have, that's like drinking poison and hoping the other person gets sick. If you've been told that, then please know that this is up to you. It's your choice, and you can heal without saying those words to yourself. You can detach emotionally. You can set strong boundaries and go no contact. Reclaiming your self-worth is not necessarily about forgiveness. It's not about the other person. It's about you. And it is so unfair, as I said earlier, to put this burden on a survivor's shoulders. If you do feel the need to forgive, then forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for not leaving sooner because you didn't know it was abuse, or you just didn't know how to leave. Forgive yourself and let go of any shame you carry for loving that person who abused you. That shame is not yours to carry, and it belongs squarely on the shoulders of your abuser. And the other thing, guys, is that you are 100% entitled to your anger. Look what this person did to you. I would be shocked if you weren't angry. It's about what we do with that anger. And I talk a lot about this in my book, Fake Love. So please get your copy, guys. There's a link in the description. I talk about processing that anger and not living there, putting a boundary, a time around that anger when you feel it, getting it out as much as you can, but preparing. How am I going to express my anger when I feel it? And, I suggest things like getting a punching bag or, running 10 laps around the block, but you have to express it. It's about getting it out, but not living there so it consumes you. Not forgiving doesn't mean that you're going to live in that anger stage forever. You do have permission, though, to feel it deeply. You are 100% entitled to it, unapologetically and without pressure from anyone to let it go when they think it's appropriate for them. Too often I hear forgiveness being weaponized against victims. For example, one person, the narcissist, will cheat on their victim and then go off at the victim when they just don't get over it and forgive them the next day. It's what happened to them in their trauma. They were told that there was something wrong with them by their abuser, the narcissist, when they just didn't forgive instantly the abuse and move on. It happened yesterday. It's over. Get over it and forgive me. They were told to move on and forgive like nothing happened. So you can choose to forgive, or you can choose not to forgive. And in both instances, you can heal, but you still have to process your trauma and get lots of support to do that, no matter what you choose. You don't have to hate the narcissist forever, but you don't have to love them or forgive them. You can just be neutral and indifferent to them, and you can kick them out of your head when you get to that stage of indifference, that peaceful stage. And you know what? It's spacious, it's freeing, and it doesn't require forgiveness. It just requires healing time and distance and lots of support. You do not have to be the bigger person, by the way. Being the bigger person does not mean tolerating abuse. It does not mean extending that grace to someone who would use it as a weapon against you. Being the bigger person is about choosing yourself, choosing healing, choosing to walk away from the narcissist in your life without pretending that they deserve another chance to abuse you. You don't have to be the bigger person. Being the bigger person does not mean tolerating more abuse. And it's also not your job to fix the narcissist and make sure they feel okay. It never was. Your job is to leave and to heal from the trauma they put you through. So for those of you who feel very deeply about forgiving this person, not for them, or it may be for them, but for you to get rid of them inside your head, get rid of that control they have over your emotions. When that's authentic, it can be a deeply personal experience and release. The main thing is that you do this of your own volition, and it's something that you value and not something that you've been told will help you and fix all the problems you're having. When you resent the person who's telling you this and the fact that your abuser is not one bit remorseful. At the end of the day, you are the one who has to live with the aftermath of this abuse, not those people who may be pressuring you to forgive, not the narcissist, but you. So always remember that you are allowed to heal without forgiving the narcissist. You are allowed to be angry, and you are allowed to not forget what they did to you. You're allowed to choose yourself. Forgiveness is not the only way forward, and often it's not the right one. And what's most important is that you honor your own personal journey, that you validate your own pain, that you build your life through that self-care and support day by day, away from the dysfunction and damage of being in the same space as your abuser, and that you realize you never needed their apology to begin healing, and you certainly do not need to forgive them either. That is a personal choice. And that brings us to the end of another Fake Love and Flying Monkeys episode. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking through to the end with me. Don't forget, if you'd like to have a one-on-one Zoom counseling session with me, please see my website in the description. And also, don't forget to get your copy of my best-selling book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. Now, if you would like to support the channel, as I always say, the best thing you can do, guys, to help that horrible old algorithm is to share, and to leave a rating and a review. And if you'd like to do something extra, there's a link there where you can buy me a cup of coffee. I love coffee. Okay, until tomorrow's episode, it's bye from me for now. Always remember, guys, that you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of so much more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.